Now then, welcome to the latest instalment of RedArmy.tv. The Ginger one, the Ginger Nut came to town. 0-0 draw it was with Burnley. We'll chew the cud over that, and Arsenal coming to town next weekend, of course. But first, the guests in the studio. Sarah Porteous from Middlesbrough. Good Middlesbrough lass. We're at the game as well.
Yes.
Welcome to the studio for the first time. And a regular, Paddy Cronesberry from the Middlesbrough Disabled Supporters Association. Good to have you back with us, Paddy.
Nice to be here.
Let's start then with Burnley. 0-0. I think we billed it as a must-win game. What were your thoughts on the outcome?
I thought we were unlucky not to win the game, to be fair. Our friendly little pest that we love to hate.
The ginger one?
No, the little one.
Oh, right, okay.
The Barton.
Oh, that one, yeah.
I thought he was very lucky to stay on the park. And also, how come the centre-half didn't get a red card when Bamford was clean through, scoring opportunity? Referee deemed to give him a yellow instead of a walkie-walkie. So
I think we'll come on to all those points as we progress this little chat head. Sarah, what were your thoughts on the performance?
Well, we've shown great effort all season, and to be fair, Burnley have never won a away game, all season. So I thought we would have, had at least one opportunity at a goal, but disappointing. Come away disappointed, but yeah, what can you do?
It was a must-win game, Paddy. How damaging is it for those Premiership survival hopes?
We're running out of games and we're running out of points to have, aren't we? That's a problem. I was hopefully expecting 7 points from 9, being the eternal optimist, from Hull, Swansea and Burnley. We've ended up with 2.
Not enough?
I don't think it's in any shape or form it's enough. And I've always been optimistic that I won't admit defeat until it's mathematically impossible. But the sums are stacking up at the minute, aren't they? And it looks like it could be a trip round the Championship clubs again next season.
Let's catch up with the words of the Boro boss, Steve Agnew. These were his thoughts after the Burnley game.
We've had 3 games there in 6 days, and the players have taken a lot of information on board, and I think now it gives us a chance to reflect of what we've done, how we've done it, what we need to continue to work on. So I'm encouraged by lots of things I saw today, and obviously the more work we get, the more preparation we have, will set us up nicely for the Arsenal game.
Well, Agger's not too disappointed. I suppose he was, because he'd wanted the 3 points, but they're very much looking forward to the preparations ahead of the Arsenal game. But Paddy, it's another 0-0 draw. You say it was promising because we attacked that bit more, but still another 0-0 draw.
Yeah, I mean, it's it was nice to see 2 goals at Hull, but it wasn't to any avail, was it really? And Burnley, I think we should have scored at least 1. I fear for Arsenal, for us, mind you, the way Arsenal played.
They're not having a good time, are they?
No. Is the pressure on Wenger? I don't know. Is it self-induced pressure? I wouldn't know. But it might be a good time to play them. It's not like the Boro crowd will get on them.
Well, we'll come on more onto Arsenal a bit later on in the programme, but just try to focus on Burnley. Sarah, Paddy thinks we should have had 1 goal. There were a couple of decent opportunities to score, weren't there?
There was at least 2, 3 that I saw. I mean, they could have had at least one of them in, absolutely. And
so
how they didn't
we were unlucky in your view? Or?
They're very unlucky, yeah. I mean, going to watch a game, every home game, the fans are backing behind them, and you're there to watch the game. You watch there to good players, good manager, and the way that they're playing was not to top standard, and I was really disappointed coming away. Yeah.
A lot of fans were disappointed at the refereeing decision, which you've touched on, Paddy. It was Michael Keane, wasn't it, taking down
as well, which for my life, I don't know why it was disallowed.
Handball, we're told.
Yeah.
We're told he handled it in the area before, obviously, the opportunity to put it away.
I don't know, I can't see it.
What about the sending off or the lack of sending off? I mean, you touched on that one, Paddy Bamford, the challenge.
Yeah, I've seen a rerun of the incident, and there is another player coming back, but I think it's very debatable whether he would have got there to cover in time. For me, it was a clear scoring opportunity, and
Yeah, I've got no idea. I've got to be
You know
honest.
what
I'm a referee, and I've
Yeah.
got no idea. It's he controlled the ball. It was there to be played. It doesn't matter whether he slipped, as Dyche was saying. He
Exactly,
fouled
yeah.
him.
Yeah,
If it's a foul, it's either denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity or it isn't. So it's either red or nothing.
Yeah,
Dunno.
it was,
Exactly,
it was tough to see that. The
just a shame it wasn't in the box because we had a penalty as well.
Mind you, that was only a sending off, wasn't it? From the free kick,
Yeah.
Downing, great chance,
Yeah.
cleared off the line. Again, we had another one cleared off the line. Does it give you some hope for survival, the fact we are now creating opportunities?
Yeah, the only thing, like I said earlier, I think we're going to run out of games. I mean, Aggers has certainly changed the mindset, I think. He's got them into a more attacking, inverted commas, mentality, which Aitor was loath to, he was very loath to let them off the reins, wasn't he? And he'd keep it tight. But would we have won them games under Aitor? I doubt it.
No.
Probably not created the chances under
Exactly.
Aitor, to be
Yeah.
fair. The fans, we mentioned, disappointed in not getting the 3 points. Some of them quite happy with a more attacking display. So, well, let's get your views. Here's the fan rants. Mark's been out with the camera.
I think the subs killed us, to be fair. I really did. I thought we were playing all right, we looked good going forward, and as soon as they come on, we slowed right down.
Another lovely nil each draw. We just seem as though we don't get the points. I thought it was a fair enough goal that Negredo scored, but the referee blew the whistle before. And
It hasn't been good enough. The players haven't been good enough. The performances from manager down to players just not good enough whatsoever.
We gave it a better go, but I think we lacked quality in the final third, and it was just one of those things. We didn't look as if we were ever good enough.
So there are your thoughts on the fan rants. What about social media? We've sent Matt Bland out onto the streets of Middlesbrough. I'm sure he'll be in a coffee shop somewhere getting a free cuppa on the back of RedArmy. These are the social media thoughts with Matt.
Thanks, Dave. You're joining me here at Off the Ground Coffee Shop on Grange Road, Middlesbrough, enjoying a nice little caramel latte. It's good, topsy good. Right, crack on with social media that you've been sending in, starting off with the Burnley match. Laurie Cox has said, we tried today, we actually did. We just simply aren't good enough, I'm afraid. Hashtag we shall overcome. Matt Peverell has stated, just seen the Michael Keane tackle on Bamford again. How has he not been sent off? Horrific decision from the ref. Hashtag Boro. Paul Burke, today's Boro team was picked using Guinevere and set of balls number 5. Hashtag UTB. Hashtag MFC. And Phil Mayhew, you and you bench. Quite assertive there. That'll teach you for scoring, assisting last game. Agnew, not logic. And finally, Roger, on reflection, there were positives today by default. We ended up with Negredo and Bamford up top in the last 10 minutes. Real potential. Good talking points there. Back to you, Dave.
So mixed views then on social media. Back to the studio then and our thoughts. We've touched on it. Are we up? Are we down? Sarah, what are your thoughts?
Obviously, we're down now. I don't think we can go any further from here. I would have thought we would win the Burnley game, but that was the opportunity there for the rest of the season. So we haven't got many games left.
We don't seem to do it away from home.
No.
Yeah, there was the Sunderland victory, of course, and we enjoyed that one. But some of the home games that we've got to come, there's some bloomin' big names from
Absolutely,
the Premier
yeah.
League teams.
Yeah.
Are they the ones you would just write off?
I think so. It's pretty scary to play those big names now. It's what chances do we have against Arsenal? It's they're a massive team. We haven't, we've shown effort towards the season, all season actually. We've shown big efforts to it, and we just haven't seemed to manage to score goals, and that's the disappointment.
It's that run-in, Paddy, isn't it? It's that, and we've been flagging it up all season, saying we better have points in the bag early because it's a horrendous run-in. We're talking Arsenal, Cities, Chelsea's, Liverpool's. Where's your heart and head at the moment?
Well, like I said, I tried to be eternally optimistic, but you've got to be a realist as well, haven't you? But we've wasted so many opportunities this season, dropped so many silly points. You remember the penalty at Leicester away? That would have given us 3 points. We ended up with 1, and like daft results like that, where we didn't do ourselves any favours at all. We haven't won enough games, obviously.
Yeah.
But there again, we have won more games than the likes of Sunderland.
But you still hold out hope, do you?
Well,
You're still holding that hope.
yeah.
There's somebody shares it with you. It's not just you. Neil Maddison, take a look at this.
I think this game is so important. If you don't do it today, if you don't get 3 points today, I think the pessimistic people just sort of like say that's it. But me personally, my heart and my head, I'll always keep believing until it's mathematically impossible to do.
Okay, while the TV takes a break, we're going to have a quick chat about Parky. Sarah, you were involved in one of the first fundraising exercises for Parky, weren't you? Great servant of the club.
Yeah, it was first started doing out charity football tournaments. I think it was the first ever one that he got, and it got real good reception. So it was partly hand in bringing some of the players from Hollyoaks and those down to play on some of the teams. So they did really well with it, yeah. And from there, they've created this yearly thing that they do. And, you know, Paddy's got a lot more information on the next one.
Yeah, there's another do, Paddy. What's the info on this one? There's something happening this week, isn't it?
Yeah, one of our MDSA sponsors, supporters, is Peter Scott from Scott Brothers, and he's also he runs Thornaby Sports and Leisure Social Club, and they're hosting a night for Gary, one of Thornaby's own.
Yeah.
And Gary's going to be there on Thursday evening. I believe there's tickets still available. I'm not sure what the price that, but I think they're reasonably priced.
But if anybody wants to...
If they want them, just contact the club or Scott Brothers.
Want to do their thing, because Parky was part of the club, wasn't he? He was part of that group of players that came through and saved us from absolute obscurity. So
you know, when he came to the Boys of 85, 86 dinner the other week, when Bruce came up, and it was great to see how many ex-Boro players of that area came out to support him as well.
So it's Thornaby Sports and Leisure.
Yeah, Thursday night.
It's Thursday night this week, and if anybody
7 till 12,
7 till 12ish, anybody wants more details, get in touch with Thornaby Sports and Leisure, and they'll fill you in with the stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a chance for signatures and autographs by ex-Boro players and stuff. If there'll be one or two. I mean, Burnley.
Yeah, there'll be quite a few.
Burnley's a big supporter of the Gary Parkinson Trust. Okay. And his wife and family will be there as well. So.
Fantastic.
What do you think of the fan zone?
I think it's good what I've seen at the moment.
Yeah, I like it, yeah, it's not bad, thanks.
The bright colours and sounds of the fan zone, which was just behind the north stand before the game at the weekend, the Burnley game, of course, and let's hope a lot of people seem to enjoy it. It will reappear before the season ends. No pressure there, Middlesbrough Football Club. Also, Matt Bland has been enjoying cups of coffee at our expense. I'm sure the expense claim will be in very shortly. He's doing the social media, keeping a close eye on it. Here's his take on one or two social media posts this week that seems to be pointing the finger towards Steve Gibson's way.
Thanks, Dave. Welcome back. Steve Gibson's managerial choices was the other subject that you were ranting about on RedArmy social media. Ben Lamb, any chairman who sacks a manager without anyone else lined up should certainly shoulder some of the blame. James Lees, I don't pin the blame all on him, but he certainly isn't blameless. Middlesbrough fans, imagine letting Steve Agnew be in charge after sacking Karanka only because it's the cheapest alternative. Well done, Mr. Gibson. Red Smog Rising. Any supporter who blames Steve Gibbo for this mess are probably best going to support Amnesia United. He trusted individuals and was let down. And finally, Steve Pickering. Steve Gibson not to blame. His staff, however, who recruits him. Back to you, Dave.
Interesting that people are starting to point a finger of blame. Sarah, Steve Gibson, absolutely stalwart of this football club. Is it unfair for a couple of fans to have a point of the finger?
Well, you know, Steve's kept the club alive, you know, massively over the years, and is the heart and soul of the club. And I think it is a bit unfair to actually put all the blame onto it. But yeah, that's...
Paddy, I suppose fans are saying, held on to Aitor too long to give us a chance of staying in the Premier League. Not fantastic business in their eyes in January in the window. Is it unfortunate? Is it unfair for them to label Steve with this?
I would maybe go along with the Aitor thing. I think it was fans were crying out for his head long before he went, and well, the thing is, the timing was all wrong, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Who could you have got in? Who could have done it? You couldn't buy players. The transfer window had shut. You can argue whether Steve didn't invest in the club. We've heard rumours that Aitor wanted this player, that player, the other player.
Well, he came out and said, "I want Jesse Rodriguez. I want Snodgrass.
Yeah,
I
but
want."
you never got Steve's answer to that. He didn't say whether he agreed to it or whether was it just names bandied about by Aitor to try and make Aitor look good or what, I don't know. But for me, I mean, I'm a diehard Steve Gibson man, as you know.
We've got to hold our hands up and say, without Steve Gibson, the club wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want chicken feeders coming in here as a buying the club, and I don't want to see our hard-earned and being taken out of the club to satisfy some foreign investor. You know, Steve's always seemed to have put his money where his mouth is. He's invested in the club. Whether he's took lumps out, I don't know. I mean, what he does in his business side of it, I wouldn't know. But it would appear that every penny he gets at spare, he puts back in. You know, and it's just, we took 7 years to get out of that. I nearly swore there. Division.
You can say Blummin, mate. Don't worry.
Blummin, yeah. And it's just a shame that the dream only lasted a season, if that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we'll probably come on to at some point talking about taking 8,000 to Huddersfield and.
Yeah, but there again, there must be people who want to back it. According to reports, we've sold 18,000 season cards already for next season. That could be because of the price, I don't know, but it's still an investment by a huge chunk of our fan base.
I've bought mine. Mine's renewed. You've got yours.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fans who have still got the confidence in the club as a whole, whether in the Premier League or in the Championship. We've got to come on to Arsenal, of course. They're going to be visiting very shortly. But before we do, it's time to catch up with the latest goings-on around the Boro. Here's Heidi with the news.
Former Boro stars Craig Hignett and Bernie Slaven are returning to the pitch next month to help a group of fans raise money for local causes. Organised by the Boro Walkers Association, the game is among a number of fundraising events planned for 2017 to help charities and community groups across Teesside. The 4-team Charity Shield tournament is to be held at Gisborough Town FC on Sunday, 28th of May. MFC Foundation is delighted to announce a partnership with Tees Valley Community Foundation to help tackle school attendance issues in the area. The school attendance programme, which already runs in Middlesbrough and is part funded by the Premier League, the Professional Football Association and the Cleveland Centre, is now set to provide support an additional 16 schools. Tees Valley Community Foundation have pledged their support to the project, which is using the brand of MFC's mascot Rory the Lion as a motivational tool in spreading the message to youngsters that every school day is important. Brian Robson is back in the Boro. The former player and manager will be discussing his glittering career at the very top of the game in this special evening with Brian Robson on Friday, 26th of May. Brian will be chatting to Paul Gough from BBC Tees, and the fans will get their chance to ask questions. Tickets are £45, including a 3-course meal. And if you've got any Boro-related news, please get in touch with us. Email studio@redarmy.tv or via social media at Boro Red Army.
Thanks for that, Heidi. I was going to say fellas there. You can be the honourable fella for today, can't you? Absolutely, because you're in the studio. We ran a poll after the Burnley result asking what position the Boro's going to end up. Well over 80% saying in the relegation zone, obviously. A majority saying in the bottom two. Paddy, where are your thoughts on that? I know we're fearing relegation, but where do you think we're going to end up? What position?
Optimistically, 17th. Where we're going to get these 7 points from, I don't know. But realistically, probably third bottom.
Yeah.
I think. Well, I was going to say Palace have got a horrendous run in, and then they go and get a result against Arsenal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Swansea have to play Hull. We're 3 points. We're a game in hand behind them. So I mean, if we can capitalise on that.
Yeah, that's the Sunderland game, isn't it? We've got it in hand, so we need 3 points from that one.
The beauty of that game is that even if Sunderland win, they can't go above us.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Arsenal, and that's what's to come. Sarah, Arsenal have not been enjoying a decent run of form of late. Arsene Wenger's under massive pressure. Is it the right time to tackle one of the big boys in that sort of form?
No, I don't think it is. No, and I wouldn't like to commit to an answer to that, but it's no. I think it's the wrong timing. Obviously, I've told you that we've committed a lot to the whole of the season, but last game was just a no-go for me for the preparation for Arsenal on Monday. But no.
Could be typical of Boro, though, couldn't it? You know, you fail against Burnley, you fail against Hull, you fail to take all points against Swansea, and then you go and do Arsenal. We've seen that happen in the past. But they're still a decent team, Paddy.
To be honest, I love watching Arsenal when they're on the game. I'm just hoping they don't. There were, I always remember an horrendous 6-0 at Ayresome Park, and I think we've had a similar score since we've been at the Riverside. And God forbid it's going to happen again.
Do you fear it might?
If we don't get out, well, we can't sacrifice our defensive jobs, but and conversely we can't be going gung ho. But we have to create a bit more. We have to attack a bit more. And the whole thing is about you won't win a game if you don't score goals. You know what I mean?
We've got the likes of Fabio coming back.
Yeah, well, Fabio's
Agus, as we heard earlier in the show,
Yeah.
touched on the likes of Chambers and others.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
maybe making it fitness-wise. Will that help?
Fabio and Chambers have been two massive misses, I think. I'm not all over Barragan. It's. I don't see what he does at full-back. He doesn't perform a full-back duty for me, but the gaffer obviously, and the one before, they seem to be, whether they're having to play him because of the injuries, but he was playing regular football before that, Fabio is, well, George Friend even, Ideally we'd have George back, put Fabio on the other side, and there's our back four, with Friend and our man Chambers back in there.
Well, we're keeping toes crossed,
the
fingers crossed.
Won't be able to play Chambers anyway because he'll be cup tied, won't he?
That's right. Part of the deal not to play against Arsenal. Predictions-wise, where are you going? What scoreline?
A scruffy 1-0 to us, but more than likely 3-0 to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Pretty much similar. I reckon 3-0 to Arsenal.
It's heart and head time.
Yeah, I know.
Heart says we'll do it 1-0.
Heart says,
Head says we're going to get turned over.
We'd love a draw at least, but...
Yeah, well, I'll go for a draw. Let's take a point. Take a point. Thanks for your time. Fans' views left, right and centre here at Red Army. Don't forget to get in touch.
We always seem to do well against the top teams. It's a well-known fact that Middlesbrough struggles against the bottom teams, but we do well against the top teams. So there's still hope. We're not down yet.
Well, it's obviously going to be an Arsenal win for me, even though I'm a Boro fan. You've got to be realistic, haven't you? The management's been shocking this season, and I think the chairman's let the club down this season as well.